It's time for Murder Moose, episode 128, part of the Slash and Cast podcast network.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
Yes, it is.
Josh, Ken, how the fuck are you beautiful people?
Fabulous. Sleepy because I'm silly and time change has fucked my existence. How
Who
are
the
you guys?
Fuck signed up. We got to vote for this, and it was a fake vote, I swear to God, because it got down to like the wire and it lost by like less than 0.5%. It's like, oh, it was so close, but fuck you, we're not doing anything. It's like, what the fuck? Who the hell voted for this shit?
Well, back in the day, it made sense for like farmers and stuff, but things are different now.
Now there's technology, and why are we still?
Yeah.
I heard one year there's a statistic that the day after, like the Monday after time change, like car accidents go up by like 10,000% or something.
That would not surprise me.
And I think suicides go up this week too. Something insane. Like it completely fucking destroys the rhythms of the human, of
The circadian rhythmic cycle or whatever.
In the rhythm of what?
In the rhythm of the night.
No, that's the middle of the night. But I said rhythm of the night because
it is.
There's ocean in the motion. What?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
I'm just
combine. You're ADHDing lyrics together like in a way that is not unseen. Yes.
I want to listen to that song now. That was honestly, this is like a weird thing. That was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid.
Aww.
I mean, I remember being obsessed with Ace of Base. I Saw the Sign.
Oh, same. Same.
Like,
yeah.
I would call the radio station and was like, I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base. Play it for me. You must play I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base.
I was with my buddies in my 20s. We were at like this, I don't know, this like lake community or whatever, like in the middle of Alberta somewhere. What the fuck was that called? I don't know. So there's like two pubs, and at night one turns into a nightclub and the other's just whatever. And we were just like getting drunk, and there's like a dance party, and we kept going up to the DJ and requesting Ace of Base, but then getting bored that it wasn't on yet, and then wandering over to the other place and back. We're like, play Ace of Base. I just fucking did. And I was like, well, play some more. And he kept playing Ace of Base, and then we wouldn't be there for it. And then we would request more. And he's like, fuck you guys. I'm not playing more Ace of Base.
I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Oh, shit, man. That's the good old days. That was like the only time I ever, as a human being, I was probably like 10. I don't even remember like when that song came out. And like, I was like, this is the best song ever.
It still is, though.
Oh gosh, when Clint Eastwood came out by the Gorillaz, my cousin and I laid in his room, and like he would call the radio station and request it, and they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna play it, and they never did, but we would lay there with the cassette tape in the radio,
in the ghetto blaster,
in the box, like just waiting. And as soon as it came on, he recorded it, and then he ended the recording. And he accidentally recorded over it the next day. It was like 3 a.m. too. I was so mad.
I remember the first time that Star Wars played on TV, I stayed up with my dad and like recorded it and then paused it on the commercials and then pressed record again. So there would be like the half a second of commercials and then back to the movie. Yeah.
Did you guys ever do the thing where you would go to like Blockbuster and get a secondary VHS station and record, and you have to put like the piece of tape on the one tape to record over or whatever?
Never.
I did that. Yep.
You never did that?
No, I would record shit. Like, I remember like being a horny teenager and like
so Ken and I were always pirates.
I mean, I would order porn in the middle of the night and try to record it onto VHS tapes and shit like that. I would try to do. I don't think I ever did it right, and then I would hide the tapes because I was like, "Oh shit, my gold, and then I would shit like that. But I don't know how my parents never noticed random pornos being purchased on their pay-per-view.
Because they probably were getting them themselves, and it's like, oh yeah, that was Wednesday, right? Did we do that Wednesday?
It was always like, on a Saturday night or something. And
why aren't you just watching Red Shoe Diary like everyone else? Mulder?
Because I needed insertion, Josh.
Oh wait, no, that was Friday
P and
night.
V. I needed P and V. Although I used to love the Real Sex, the Real Sex show on HBO. But that was like
the old lady
kind of thing. No, it was like. It was just basically segments.
You remember that old lady show?
I do remember the old lady show where she would talk about like different sex topics.
Yeah.
The
sex show.
I loved her.
Dr. Ruth, is that?
Yeah.
Dr. Ruth. Dude, my new favorite lady is the old lady on How to Build a Sex Room and how lovely that lady is. And because she's this old British lady who just talks about sex like it's the best thing in the world, and it makes me happy. So
in the middle of the night.
So I have to ask. We are talking about Scream today from 1996 because this lady in our chat,
in our chat, she's in our chat.
We're chatting, Josh. So it's a chat.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah. Oh, Josh. Oh, we have to yell at her. By the way, she was going off today about how like it's not her podcast and she's not this and that, and I'm like,
what?
I said because I don't do anything.
You show up and you
just
contribute.
Here, so it's yours.
That's how I started, and then
okay, well then cool.
But I also told Rod, like off the get-go, Rod sold me this show because I was on like a burnout, like of all burnouts, and I was like literally hiding in a corner, and he's like, "No, you have to come," and I'm like, "I can't. I'm burnt out. I can't do anymore." And he's just like, "You don't have to. Just show up, man, and talk." I was like, "Oh, well, why the fuck didn't you say that to begin with?" Like, so like, if you want more, there's other things that we can.
You can have the Twitter. You can have the Twitter account, and you could be like social media managing kin or whatever. You could have the Instagram. The Instagram kicked me off of the Murder Moose Instagram, and I haven't been back on it in weeks. It's probably been more than weeks, actually. It's probably been months at this point.
I posted once.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things you can do. You don't have to do these things, but you're like, Ken, you have more in your life going on than I think Josh or I, and that's saying a lot.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But no, I don't think I have. No, I think we all equally have a lot of shit going on.
It's true. You guys have a good weekend. I went and saw metal bands on Friday night, and that was very fun. I had good times.
Did you see August Burns Red?
Yeah, we had to leave during the set though because the wife didn't feel good. But like, saw Bleed From Within, who's from Scotland, and was very very good. And then Devil Wears Prada, and nice. they were fucking killer. So. And those were the ones I wanted to see anyways. August Burns Red, I don't know as much about, but they were pretty fucking cool. The guy was like, he was doing the mic swingy thing, which I've only ever seen. I've only ever seen the Taking Back Sunday guy do.
Yeah.
That's old school.
But I was like, damn.
Bands in Calgary used to do that way too often, but I also was in hardcore bands in 2003 and shit. So
yeah, I was gonna say I've seen Taking Back Sunday 4 or 5 times live, and that's just tell all your friends, and it's just like, yeah. And so, but
I'm gonna make damn sure.
That was probably my favorite emo-y type of band. Like, them and Alkaline, but Alkaline was way more depressing.
I love Alkaline Trio so much.
Any band that sings shaking like a dog shitting razor blades is just got 2 thumbs up, and that's how they open that song. And it's just like, yep, shaking like a dog shitting razor blades. And yep, so yep. But yeah, so that was fun. I had a good time with that. And then
I painted a Bob Ross painting.
Nice.
I had a Bob Ross day. We invited my girlfriend's friend over, and we all attempted to do a Bob Ross painting side by side with acrylics, not with fucking oil paintings, so it's never gonna perform. He's like teaching you how to do oil paintings, and you're like, this isn't working. What the fuck? It was
because it's drying too fast.
Yeah, it was
I had. Speaking of that, I was watching Jenny Ortega on Hot Ones, and she was talking about how David Arquette would do Bob Ross classes.
Oh yeah.
During the movies, and she was so sad because she missed it. She was like, she was acting that, and so she had one of her scenes when he did it, and it was like,
I've heard that David Arquette is just like a gem on all sets, because he like will bring a scooter to like,
and let the cast use it and everything.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And
stuff.
I'm not going into it, but because Kin, obviously, we're going into the Scream adventure. The more I think about the ending of Scream 6, the angrier I get, Josh. I just want to tell you, I keep getting madder and madder about it. But
I saw this list of the movies, and it's like, put them in order from best to worst, and it was just Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was like, yeah, that's right.
No, it wasn't,
for me,
because 3 will always be the worst Scream.
No,
but that's
100% no.
Yes.
I think all in order. Well, I don't know. Maybe Scream 4 is better than Scream 3, but other than that,
I don't know.
Meh.
Yeah, Ken's like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. No, I don't remember 4. 4 is the weird anomaly I've only seen once, and oh fuck.
But Scream 4 introduced the what's her name who came back in this newest one.
Shut up, Josh. Someone here hasn't seen it. Shh.
Well, she's on the poster of both, so I don't know. Do you know any news or anything about about Nev Campbell and like the pay thing or whatever that was happening with this newest one?
All I know is that
they insulted her and stuff.
It made a shit ton of money, and
of course, this is why we're talking about Scream in general, because it's not just a movie anymore. It's a movement. It's a cultural phenomenon. I haven't seen because we are part of this horror community, like the bigger collective horror community of the world. And I follow so many horror podcasts and accounts and feeds and blah, blah, blah. And the amount of people that all went out and made it a thing with their friends and were making sure to get pictures and blah, blah, blah. They made it a fun thing. And it's this thing that you have to go out with friends and have a good time. And I think because it's a new generation and they pass the baton on to younger actors now, and, Core 4, like, hype and all that stuff is like a thing. And people love these characters, especially with Wednesday being the biggest thing and Ortega like being attached to this. It has so many like viral things going for it that even if the movies suck, it's bigger than that now. It's a franchise that has legs for fucking years and years, and it's going to continue now. Yeah. Continue.
The only thing I have to say about the new ones that is not a spoiler, every time I see the main character's eyebrows, I just go, your eyebrows are out of control. She's
hot as hell though. Come on.
Those eyebrows just kind of throw me off. They throw me off, and I don't like her eyebrows. I just don't like it. So, how was your guys' weekend? Did you have obviously Kin went in and dove into the Scream, but you guys do anything else cool over the weekend?
A friend of mine from the stream that I haven't seen in 3 years was in town, so I got to hang out with him and his mom and do a bunch of stuff. So that was really fun.
Nice. Man, also you just reminded me because of everything. I want to say fucking Smashly. I love her and what she came out and like was going over on Twitter and everything this like over the weekend. Dopest motherfucker in the world, and I love that woman to death, and I continue to hope that she keeps kicking ass because this world's a fucking shit show, and so
I love you, Smash.
Yeah, places like Tennessee that no offense, can eat my asshole. Are just horrible.
We had this whole
places.
conversation yesterday about moving again because we keep going back and forth on it, and I was like, no, we're not going to move. We're going to stay here at least for a while, and then eventually we'll move like to Ohio or something. And
but Ohio's just fucking just as bad.
Oh, I know, but I just wanted to get out of here. And then that happened today, and I was like, I hate it here.
Yeah,
I truly hate it here.
I'm not sure what you guys are talking about because I'm Canadian, and
it's the Republican states are all going after trans people because they're all fucking evil.
Tennessee has now passed a law that if the county clerk who is issuing your marriage license, this is a little bit separate from what Rod's talking about, but it is included in that as well, determines that they don't want to issue you a marriage license, they don't have to issue it based on same-sex marriage, interracial marriage, difference,
religion,
interreligion as well. There's like all these things that they're putting in place.
How is this not like human rights like violation?
And then they've banned drag shows. Well, so I've read back through everything a few times. They've banned drag shows in public, and minors are not allowed to be brought into drag shows. But where the lines get blurry, and why all of this is kind of like smacking a lot of people in the face right now, outside of it already doing so, is like Smashley explained it. You know, you can be trans and be in the state, and the state can determine that your whole life is a drag show and that you're putting on a drag performance, and they can arrest you.
It's fucking evil, man. The fucking, like, it's all, I don't want to dive into it and bum everyone out. Like the Florida is like removing liquor licenses from some place because they had a drag show that some kid looked under 16, and so they're going to take their liquor license away, even though it's fucking against the law, because these fucking states are fucking evil places, man. These fucking power hungry assholes that want it to be 1950 again. So, yeah. America, fuck no. Lick my butt and suck on my balls. Yeah, exactly. So I
thought you were going to say toe.
No, I would, no. So, yep. Okay. But yes, we are going to talk about Scream. Josh, is there anything you did cool over the weekend before we dive in?
No.
Okay.
Just the Bob Ross thing. Like, we take it pretty easy.
Bob Ross.
And it's been weirdly not spring, and now it's finally like today turning into spring, and the time change, it's just so dumb. So it was just hard.
I hate it. I hate it with every ounce of my being. I hate it. So yeah. Okay, yes. So Ken, we had our first adventure with Scream from 1996. Directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, who we just did the Sick movie a couple of months ago. And it goes as follows from IMDb. A year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a new killer who targets the girl and her friends by using horror films as part of a deadly game. So, Ken, I want to know, like, going into this, you were talking about this morning on your stream, but what did you think Scream? It sounded like you thought Scream was going to be more like cringy horror.
Yeah. So I was always under the impression, just from like, I don't know why, but like I always was under the impression that it was like just pure cringe, that was the whole thing. It was just cringe, and it was just like, I know that Scary Movie was like a parody of Scream movies, but I don't know. In my brain, I was like, there's nothing going to be scary about this. This is silly. Whatever. And I always had kind of been like Ghostface always felt like he was one of those killers that was kind of like laughed at and kind of like pushed in the corner, and I was like, it was really good.
This is such a good movie, and Scary Movie is actually the working title of this movie, and that's what kind of makes Scary Movie even funnier, because they took the original name of the movie Scream and made a parody of it with its own fucking name. That's so funny to me.
That's hilarious.
They took the mask and made it like silly looking, right, for those movies, and just made it. But like the costume is like the most generic costume in the world, right? It's just like that black, like over like gown, and then like the mask that is.
But that's what makes it
pretty
scarier,
similar.
though. It's
Yeah.
it's more accessible.
I was reading about that. The robe was gonna be white, but they changed it because they were afraid of people comparing the costume to those of the Ku Klux Klan.
Mm-hmm. But also at night,
sense.
you know, you're walking around in the dark. This is like something that is scary and then also can like blend in, and it being that background thing. And honestly, I'm really happy that we're diving into this after seeing the sixth one, because I was sitting there and I was trying to feel or see what was wrong with the sixth one, because it just didn't feel right in a few spots or whatever. And this one just does so many things right. And I believe it's because of the time period of when it was made. It was coming off of, you know, the back of the 80s movies doing it so well. This is still Wes Craven proving himself again that he can be current for its time, but he used all the tropes that work in horror movies. The score really adds to like normal scare parts that have been used again and again and again in these movies. But every score and every bit, like movie wise, made these scares just work 10 times better than in any other Scream movie. And that this cold open with Drew Barrymore is still hands down one of the best cold opens in like any slasher movie I've ever seen. It's fucking brutal. Well, it's so well done, but it has stakes, and it goes straight to what I believe that what is it? Terrifier 2 did well, was showing the repercussions of other human beings and their reactions to horrific events. And I don't think the newer Scream movies do this, like the cold open did with the parents going, "Oh my God, we can fucking hear her," and then the mom's like, "Scream," and then Scream comes up. I'm like, fuck, perfection.
Well, it's
perfection.
I mean, it was one of the biggest bait and switches of all time, right? Like they had. Did you know Drew Barrymore got killed in the cold opener? Ken,
Well, I didn't know. No, I didn't know until I watched it.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Were you like, so back in 1996, back in the day,
she was the biggest actor in the world at that point.
Oh yeah, well, she was the biggest actor in this movie for sure, and it was she. I think she wanted to play that role. Like that was like her. Like originally they pitched her playing Sydney, but she was like, no, I want to play this the opening girl, and you're like, it was such a thing where you're like, why are they
making her the biggest thing on the poster too? It's fucking great. It's so good.
Yeah, dude, and every single time I see the shot where her parents run outside and they see her in the tree, it's such that striking image, right? Because it looks like, I don't know about to you guys, every single time to me, it looks like she's hanging from her entrails. Yeah. And it takes you a second when you go look over and you look at it's really a rope wrapped around her and everything like that. But like,
it's brutal.
It's and you're like,
but that's coming off of, you know, it's 96. It's 6 years after the 80s. Yes, that's math. Wow. But I feel like these new movies don't rely, or just in general, they don't rely on the practical effects like this movie did. The two more horrifying parts in this movie are in the cold opener, when her boyfriend is tied to the chair, and it just it just shows him for a half a second, but that 1 second of a practical effect and the shininess of the blood and everything, and just how it all looks on actual film comparison to all this digital shit that's going on now. It's so HD, and it's so whatever. I think they're like shying away and going too much into the computer generated bullshit, and like it doesn't have anywhere near the effect that this movie has. And this is like the 13th time I've watched this movie, and I loved it just as much the 13th time as I did every other fucking time I've seen it.
Yeah, Ken, what did you think about the cold opener?
I really liked it. I thought it was great. It definitely, you can see where people pull inspiration for stuff. I loved the scene where they're playing the game and he's asking her about, horror movies. He's like, who's the killer in Friday the 13th? She's like, Jason. And he's like, who? Jason Voorhees. He's like, wrong. And I was like, ha, 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 ha. But like in a panic, if you're just not thinking and somebody's like, who is it? Tell me or I'll kill you. Your brain is going to be like, oh, Jason. But
well,
shocker, it's not. Spoiler.
You say Friday the 13th and the first thing that comes to your mind is Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Right? You say Jason Voorhees, you say like a hockey mask, you see all this shit. And it's one of those things like Josh and like
I'd be like, which one are you talking about? And
well, that's the thing, right? It's like that line sticks with you. Go look at the 90s, by the way. Go look at Scream is such an important film because it saved horror in the 90s.
This is the movie, like, because it came out when I was 12, and I saw it at a sleepover with my guitar player, and like, I'm like not overly watching horror movies at that point. And this was like the one that I was like, holy shit, what did we just watch? And I had just got like my a camera handed down to me that didn't work. And then I just made nothing but short horror films on this little like camcorder thing. Yeah. Like every fucking day. Yeah. I don't know. This movie is so so pivotal to who I am today.
It kicked off the whole like slasher reboots, like the revitalization of slashers. Because man, you look at it, and before this in the 90s, it was like a horror fatigue from the 80s. Like, but there's still gems like this, right? Like New Nightmare, one of Wes Craven's best movies, came out
H2O?
2 years before that. I mean, that was after this.
I'm just
kidding. In 98, right? But you look at that in Candyman, but like. It's real
I fucking love New Nightmare. But this is all just Wes Craven
movie. Yeah. I asked Kate and she realized that was Wes Craven in the hallway in the Freddy Krueger outfit.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I was like, oh, oops.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that till I don't even know when I realized that it wasn't that. It was in the last 10 years, I think. I didn't realize for a long time that. Yeah. I didn't realize that was him.
I think Ben, like, because I saw it with my buddy Ben, and he was always like a big nerd about this type of stuff. So I think knew as we were watching it and told me that, and I was like, no way.
Yeah, they dorked him up, right? He's got that scummy like janitor vibe to it, even though he's wearing the Freddy Krueger, the sweater and everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, and it's funny. It's such a funny little moment because it's like it's him and Henry Winkler, who is just fantastic in the whole, like, when he's not even in the movie that much, but like you like him as that he tries to come off like as the caring, like principal who like cares about his students, but then there are a bunch of morons and he's like, you fucking morons. And like I was wondering if he actually expelled those kids or they got away with it because he got murder killed before.
Hey, it's the Fonz with really loud scissors. Shing, 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 shing.
The movie is so important, not just for the Scream franchise, right? Like when I was talking earlier, Josh, and I think we should do 2 and 3 next week because, like, I think we could burn through the other ones and then we'll do 4 and 5 the week after. Like, I don't think we need whole episodes for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like, especially, but like, I think as Ken goes through,
I don't know, man. I would love to deep dive 3, just because, like, it's just I can't even say a thing because if you've seen a Bond movie or two. Yeah. It was completely stolen from Scream 3.
Yeah. We'll go into it. We'll figure it out later. We'll figure out
wait, what? What are you talking about?
As soon as you guys start talking about stuff and you're like, oh, this might be a spoiler, I'm like, oh, what else did Wes Craven work on that maybe I wasn't
we're not spoiling. We're not spoiling anything for you, Ken. We're not. No.
I do it just so I don't,
Yeah. It's funny seeing Neve Campbell because this was the beginning of her like becoming the fucking cast of this movie is amazing. I mean, it's just fucking fantastic, right? We have Nev Campbell, we have David Arquette, who is the biggest. Like, this is the height of David Arquette being a giant dweeb, like just the biggest dweeb in the world, and you can tell where they got the doofy character in the Scary Movies from, because he's such a dweeb, and I always forget how much Dewey gets the shit kicked out of him in every single one. Like, this motherfucker gets stabbed.
I love Scream 2, by the way. Like,
yeah,
the opening of Scream 2 was amazing too.
I did watch the opening of Scream 2 because I was starting to. The opening is.
I like
wild.
I
love the opening of Scary Movie.
Scary Movie. I was gonna say the dick through the ear is way better, but it's like dick through the ear, dick through the ear. Yeah, well, that's another thing. That's the thing where that was like the immediately they fucking open up with that opening in 2, and you're like, oh, they're not fucking around yet again, and it's because you got bigger actors in that too, right? But like, yeah, you got Nev Campbell, you got David Arquette, you got Courtney Cox, pretty young Courtney Cox. Because what year did Scream come out? I mean, not Scream. What year did Friends start? Like, this was like pretty close to the start of Friends, right?
So I was flipping through stuff because Friends came out in '94. I actually have this up because I thought it was really interesting. She approached production to pursue the role because she wanted to play a bitch character to offset her nice friend's image.
Yeah.
And initially they refused it to her because she has such a nice friend's image, but she kept on begging, basically, and did so in a bitchy way so they would give her the part.
Oh,
which
cool.
it makes sense because, like, she's such a cunt so many times throughout the series, and like in this especially, you feel for, she's like that definition of the character who is exploiting other people's tragedy for her own like career and her own like.
But then to see her like in the 6th one, like looking halfway there to Madonna is just like eek.
I don't know. Ken, have you seen what Courtney Cox looks like these days?
Oh.
But I have her IMDb paid up. I can look.
She looks like you went, can you use all the Botox? is just, there's 2 things about her. I love her because she's always so good in these movies. 2 things about her. In 5 and 6, it's the Botox. And in 3, she has the worst bangs of all time. Like, worst bangs.
No, of history, of all history.
Yeah. It looks like a toddler cut her bangs. It's just
bad.
So bad. They're not even. They're like a half inch long. They're just the worst bangs of all time.
A half inch long.
So,
yep.
Speaking of her and her bangs, I'm on her IMDb because that's what I do. I have never seen someone with so many pages of pictures on their IMDb. This bitch is out here. Sorry, Courtney Cox, you're not a bitch, but out here with 29 pages, 1,384 photos on her IMDb. I know, like, it's just mind blowing. I've never seen anybody's. I spent a lot of time on IMDb, and I have never seen that. That's wild. Sorry.
You know what? No, that's fun. That's a lot. That's funny. It makes me laugh. You know what makes me laugh about this, though, and as we're talking about this in the early careers of these guys. So Skeet Ulrich, who is fantastic in this film as the creepy boyfriend, and Nev Campbell were both also in The Craft, and obviously The Craft, she makes him her like lost puppy, right? Like, who follows her around and like does all the stuff for her at school and all that shit, right? So it's funny seeing that after, and then those 2 come back here, and he feels like the only one of these actors who, I guess, yeah, like he feels like he had the smallest career after this, like out of the main guys besides like Randy, right? Like Randy is probably the only other one who, like, I don't know if I ever seen him, because
Randy.
Randy's the best, man. But like, because even what do you call him was in the Scooby-Doo movies. Like, he did the 2
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was also in
Lillard.
13 Ghosts and Without a Paddle and
Hackers.
Oh my
Hack
god,
the Planet.
Hackers.
I saw
And
Steve Punk.
Wasn't he in what was that other one?
Yeah.
With Heroin Bob. Oh, Heroin Bob. Yeah.
And he's been doing a lot of voice acting because I was like, what happened to him? Because I haven't seen him in anything in a long time. He voice acts a lot of cartoons and video games now. Nice. Which also, David Arquette looks so freaking goofy in this movie. And I've seen him, like throughout the years and different stuff. But it was so funny because I was like, man, the last time I saw David Arquette was in a video game.
Oh yeah, he's in one of the Until Dawn games, or the Quarry. He was in the Quarry. The Quarry.
The Quarry. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not even in that. I think he's just in that opening scene, isn't he? He's not in it very long.
In the Quarry?
Yeah.
No, he's in there a lot.
Oh, okay. I played that on stream, and I still don't remember how much he was in that movie.
Well, I mean, like he's in and out. Like he's there, and then he's not, and then he's there, and
yeah. Man, yeah, he's it's funny because like he went back and started wrestling a couple years ago because of the whole Ready to Rumble thing, and then that was the whole thing that Josh and I have talked about multiple times where he almost died because he got stabbed in the neck with a light tube.
He always took it really seriously. Like what?
Yeah.
Honestly, I told you to get that documentary on your radar.
I need to see it. Yeah.
It's really fucking good. It's an easy watch. It's short, but it sheds a light on, because I grew up loving David Arquette, and like Ready to Rumble was a fucking great movie anyways.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that he was like that into wrestling, and the whole like him winning the championship fucked his career and his wrestling career over simultaneously, like at the same time, because all of Hollywood is like, he's just a fucking kid that likes wrestling. And then wrestlers were like, fuck you. No one deserves to win a belt like that.
They thought he mocking their business.
Yeah.
It wasn't his fault, but it was like you go back and look at that time frame of WCW, it was a fucking nightmare. It was like that whole time frame for the whole WCW was a fucking nutso period. And you just go, oh, okay. Because it was all run by, it was like the asylum being run by the inmates, basically. It was people like Hulk Hogan and all these people just doing terrible things and making terrible decisions and no one having control over it. And people didn't know what was going on. Yeah. It was a lot, man. It was, also, aside from, either one of you guys dug into the Scream, I assume Ken hasn't, but the Scream TV show that MTV had?
No. I didn't like The Mask.
The Mask, which I guess was on the train sequence on Scream 6 somewhere, which I didn't notice, but I like seasons 1 and 2 a lot. I actually, then the third season they tried to make it like the Scream movies more.
Yeah, they changed the Mask to the actual one, and I was like, I already don't care.
But I would suggest those first 2 seasons. I think they're worth watching. We watched it. My wife and I watched it a couple of years ago, and it actually like got real into it. It was a fun little series, right? Like that, like you're not expecting some of the brutality they have for like an MTV show, but they didn't fuck around. So yeah,
I don't know. Like it's hard for me to get into like a show now. Like like when I'm watching horror, it's like getting away and watching a movie now instead of like watching with somebody. It's like I'm getting away to watch something. To watch a show, that's like a lot of time now. So I'm like, not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I understand it. I'm just telling you, it's worth a watch, and it's actually pretty easy. But it's So yeah, it's funny how iconic this whole film is and what it led to in the industry.
It's like the Matrix of horror movies. Like there hasn't been. It's seriously, Scream is the Matrix of horror movies because it's like you said, it saved horror and it showed essentially every slasher movie after it what should be done. Essentially,
you know how I didn't see Scream?
Yeah,
I've never watched The Matrix.
The Matrix is another movie that I've seen like 20 times as well. And I rewatch the whole trilogy every single year.
I will tell you this. The original Matrix, like you just probably just picture guys like pulling their cocks out and just like sword fighting with them, like because when they talk about the Matrix, because it's such a like a dude bro movie. But the first Matrix is a fun watch. I would never say you need to watch any more of them, but like the first movie
the
is
other
like,
two
it's like
just
yeah.
I read a lot about the like directors or writers.
The Wachowski sisters
brothers
now.
and sisters.
They were brothers then, and then now they're the Wachowski sisters. They did a lot, but like it felt like they were like these directors that had these ideas and
for years.
They nailed
before.
the Matrix, yeah, and then they. It feels a lot like it's when those directors that don't have like that's their one shot. They like, they did the one thing and they're like, okay. It's like they're like one hit wonders.
When you raise the bar
bands.
for the whole industry far, and like they James Cameroned, and they're not James Cameron, with technology and with like just crazy sci-fi storytelling that actually worked and made you go, wait, what? Huh? And then they're like, and honestly, the fourth one is why they wrote in the problems they were having with their writing process into the fucking movie. Like Warner Brothers said they were going to take it away from us if we didn't write another movie, and they wrote that into the fucking movie. I was like,
remember me yelling about Sandra Bullock or Julia Roberts in Ocean's 12, and it's the same thing where they can't come up with an idea and they go, okay, I'm just going to include real life. And it's just like, stop.
Julia Roberts. Stop. You did this last time too. You said Sandra Bullock last time.
It's this, because I hate that movie and I've tried to remove it from my fucking memory, Josh. I fucking hate it. Fucking hate it.
What about Ocean's 8?
Never saw it. I heard nothing but good things. And by good things, I mean terrible things. Just like, dude, I am completely good with you taking some cast, something, and replacing it, doing a female version, but just don't fucking write it in. That fucking Ghostbusters movie with the all women was one of the shittiest. Like, you're just like, this really is such a like, no effort put into it at all. Like, none. And like, I like the Afterlife one that came out a couple years ago. That was fucking entertaining. I'm
excited.
Man.
I just saw Reitman tweet or Instagram post about they're starting filming on the next one. So
nice.
We're a glutton for nostalgia, and until we stop going to fucking movies because of nostalgia, like. They've weaponized it too much, and weaponized nostalgia is the only thing Hollywood does now. And then we got the last however many fucking Jurassic movies, and I just hope they fucking stop, because those are the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen.
The second one was, I was like, the first one I was like, this is dumb, but it's fun. The second one was, I was like, this is shitting directly in Steven Spielberg's mouth, and I was like, I refuse to watch the third one. Never did. Heard
I saw
real
it,
bad.
and I am very sad that I saw
it. I'm a very sad panda.
But with that all being said, I understand from a business standpoint. It's doing the same thing that Scream is doing, but Scream is still doing it better than those other franchises.
Again, we'll go back to this over and over again. You can make a good horror movie for significantly less money than most other types of genres. I saw some like What Culture video yesterday or today or something like that. I think it was a couple of days ago over the weekend. And they were like, yeah, they're the only like genre that's been reliable since theaters reopened after the COVID started has been horror, because
I want to see the director of the Spider-Man movies do Final Destination like he said he wanted to. I saw it like pop up on his IMDb page as like potentially, and then disappear. He would be a wicked person to bring that franchise back to life.
Am I the only one who's seen Clown? Because
no, I saw Clown. That's why I know like he would do a great job. And just seeing what he is capable of doing with the big massive Marvel movie, and he's steering the boat well. And a lot of other directors, you can tell they're just like, ow, Disney, you're stepping on my toes really hard and it hurts, but okay. And you can just see it in the movie. Whereas the Spider-Man movies, I feel like he's like, hey, fuck off a bit. Okay, I'm steering this thing. Like, yes, okay, but fuck off a bit.
That has a lot, I think, to do with the weird, like, I feel like those movies are like divorced parents who like yes. Marvel and Disney, and he's like the weird uncle who somehow gets the kid for the weekend, and so like he does.
Well, and Sony, about it. To be honest, I think maybe
Sony's
that's why those movies.
Sony and then Marvel though, like they're both like they're like, and then he's like the weird uncle that's just like, okay, Spider-Man, let's go to the park, and he's just doing things that a weird uncle does.
So what do you think we're gonna get? Like speaking, because like this is brought up a huge franchise talk, obviously, right now. But like because Friday the 13th had this crazy divorce situation going on, and now it's coming back. What do you think it's going to be like for us?
Depends. Depends on who gets it. It depends on who It's the same thing with the Nightmare on Elm Street like things, like right, like the if Blumhouse, like we're talking about Scream, right, and the Blumhouse has these now, right? Scream is done by like. Is it
no?
Who's doing it? Or is it Paramount?
It's
Paramount, right? Yeah, but like,
and New Line.
I'm just thinking of Blumhouse because Blumhouse did the Halloween movies and now is doing the Exorcist trilogy coming up here again this year. But like, if you give someone who like, regardless of how I feel about the ending of Scream 6, the movie made tons of money. And they're going to greenlight a Scream 7 here before we're too.
It's probably already in production, man.
Yeah, I don't know if they greenlit it and said it out loud yet, but it just is that thing where you take care of it and you have someone that like cares. It doesn't mean that they're going to nail it, but like it's better than them like just someone trying to make something into a cash cow, right? And just trying to milk it for extra money, right? So that will depend. Just like these, man. It's
what I want to happen in the 7th one.
What?
I want Matthew Lillard to be the killer.
Dude, that's been the rumor for years. So I don't know.
But I want that to be a thing. I think that would be like the best way to do it.
I'm going to explain this to Ken. So Ken, you saw what happened to Matthew Lillard's head. It gets a TV dropped on it in the end of this movie. So originally, Scream 3 was going to involve Matthew Lillard was still alive, and that I think he was in prison, but like Columbine happened, and I think there was a school, violence in school kind of thing, so they completely gutted and had to rewrite the script and all that stuff. So like ever since then, Scream 5 and 6, they've been like, oh my god, it's gonna be like Matthew Lillard is gonna be there and he's gonna be the killer. And I heard rumors about between the last 6 months for this one. So it's like that thing where I keep wondering, like, is it gonna actually happen? And like I think happen. It's just them fucking with fans, though. I honestly think that was just
it's fans fucking with fans, man.
Maybe. Can I have to ask, what did you think, like, of the reveal of? Did you, while you were watching this, this movie does such a good job of going, oh, here you get this. No, you don't get this. Here you get that. Like, they just give you that toy of who is the killer, and then take it away, and then give it back with
who done
basically
it?
Billy.
Who done it?
But what did you think as you're like going through, and like, who did you think it was Billy the whole time? Did you think did you have a like, who is it? Like, who was your idea who was killing everyone during this whole film?
At first, like when it all first pops up and he drops the cell phone, I was like, oh, it's Billy. But then I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense.
The fucking cell phone. I love it.
The whole cell phone scene is great, especially watching it in 2013 versus 1996.
Wait, why do you have a cellular telephone?
All the kids have them these days. Oh.
God.
That was, and the fact that they made, and I was talking to HT about this because I was so like, this is wild. Billy's character so similar to Johnny Depp, and to give him the appearance of Johnny Depp and like have the same like hair and the same like whatever.
The bad boy kind of attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, like the bad soft boy kind of attitude. I don't know. So it was hard to place it as him, but Matthew Lillard, no idea. Did not expect it at all. Yeah. Jamie Kennedy's character, the Randy, I like briefly for a minute was like, Randy's kind of weird, but that seems too easy. Yeah. So it can't possibly be him. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's somebody out in the woodwork. And then they were like, when they tried to pass it as her dad, I was like, and then it almost, like, had I not known anything about the movie, they almost had me convinced at one point that it could have been her. Just like mental breakdown, like it's her. She's the one doing it. But I thought it was great. I really liked it. I liked that it was 2.
The reveal scene of the third act is such a fucking like iconic set of scenes, right? The whole house scene, the chase at the end, and there's so much good stuff, like trivia about that, like when Billy throws the phone at Stu, and like he didn't mean to, but his hand was all bloody because of the blood, and he tossed it at him, and his response was like a genuine, like wasn't like in the script or whatever. Man, you threw a phone at me. And
that whole scene. I was just like, fuck, he is the fucking best. Like, my parents are gonna be so mad.
That was great. Parents are gonna be so mad.
It's such a good, like, I love Matthew Lillard, always have in everything.
Yeah.
This is just, wow. It's too fucking good.
It's funny, and it's like, it sets up that, like, it's one of those things where they get, they have this like really, really, really good plan, but the problem with their really, really good plan is that there were so many variables that they weren't able to like predict, right? Like Gale Weathers is like the ultimate like wild card in a lot of this. Obviously Dewey is another wild card. And they have like they predicted so much, and they set up so much, and they were like on that page for so much of this, but they just offset it by a little bit because there were just too many things happening, right? They were so close to all this succeeding, and it's just like fucking Billy gets a little too anxious with his knife and starts cutting people. I mean, Stu a little too like deep, stuff like that, and it's just like. They had this plan, and you go, oh, okay. And it's like, damn it. They're like, for them, they're like, they got so close to pulling this off, and it would have been like, that's another thing that I would be like, what would have happened if these two would have gotten away with it, right? Like, would you have done more Scream movies? Like Scream 2 is like, they just got away with it, because that's the thing with Scream, right? It's that it's what a slasher would be like if it happened in real life, right? It's that thing where it's like, what would the actual happening of like people were doing this in real life? It's almost like, like it's a serial crime. You're talking about a thriller, whodunit, Josh, and you go, this is the most accurate like take of what would happen if 2 teenage kids started doing shit like this in real life, right?
Matthew, well, I don't know. Like it's funny to see it through the lens of 2023, because I remember it being so current in 96, but it's hard to think of what current was, and just what everything was back then. And it seems so, I don't know. Like, I love how this movie and all of its like flaws that it has, like they really take care of making the mask and making everything, and just the presence of Ghostface really badass nowadays. Whereas this movie, that scene where he's like walking up behind Randy, and it's like iconic. He's like, oh my God, he's behind you. Look fucking behind you, idiot. Yeah. The mask is like fucking like all smushed and weird looking. Like they just put it on, and they didn't like, I'm like, what? what movie would allow the hero mask? Like, I feel like this one really was just the mask from the store, whereas every other one, it's like, no, we have the Scream mask now, and it's like, it has to be perfect every time.
They change them in every movie, right? Like the masks are never completely the same, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I noticed all the differences without like staring at them, but like I remember when Scream 5 was coming out, like, beginning of last year, and they were like, people were like, analyzing the mask and doing this.
Well, it's because it's like Mike Myers' mask, right? Like they really like dirtied it up, and the masks in the newest one are fucking dope. Like they're and what they did, like showing more than one mask and stuff, is really cool. And just I don't know, it's become iconic. So you gotta. What?
Okay, I want to talk about some of my favorite things about this movie, because there are ridiculous things about Scream, and let's go to the most ridiculous thing in all of Scream is what do you call her going through the garage door and
Barbie head
with her big old titties, like huge titties. I'm like, how are you trying to get through this door frame? But I don't know about you guys. There is no garage door opener that, I mean, in the thing that's been said for almost 30 years at this point, but like there's no garage door opener, even with this girl being as small as she is, that would have like lifted this girl up through that, and then like smushed her and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we had a garage door in Florida that was like one of the automatic ones, and you could just breathe on it wrong and the bitch would fall off the tracks, Like, I mean, we had a sensor on it so that if I happened to walk through the sensor while the garage door was coming down, it would go back up. But our garage door in the basement, like, yeah, it stays locked. You can't push it open or anything. But when you're moving that shit, I take that back. Actually, our garage door in the basement could possibly remove a limb if it was sharp enough, but I don't think you're going to be like using the thingy to get it up. Like, it's not automatic.
I always use my thingy to get it up.
Giggity. I thought she used her thingy to get yours up. And
yes.
Yes.
No, thingies.
I mean, yeah, that also. I still got 2 out of 5 of my sexy parts. The Bob's Burgers, the song that she sings when she's, I always wonder when I hear that and watch that episode, does she mean like she's still got her asshole and her mouth? What did the babies ruin of her sexy parts? Because these are the sexy parts I'm thinking of. If you don't know, we're talking about Bob's Burgers. There's an episode where Linda's singing about in her old rock band from high school, and she still got 2 out of 5 of her sexy parts. So I always go, well, a baby would ruin a boob, so she's got 2 boobs, and then a vagina coming out of it. Yeah. So that means
I don't like
boobs.
I don't like talking about sexy parts and Linda, because that's my mom's name, and it's just like, ugh.
Both boobs in your vag, they're gone.
So that means her butthole's still good, though. I mean, I think, I don't know. So that's one. That's my goofy thing. 2, I don't know.
Rod. Everybody, Rod Johnston. Everybody.
I'm here.
We love you, and we love you.
I'm playing with my fidget blocks all this week.
Oh, you only got 2? Oh, just like you were saying, you only got 2 left. I got 3. Shit.
I think that being stabbed with an umbrella would hurt a lot. Like a whole lot.
It looked brutal.
Can we talk about the fact that during all of that scene, she stabs him with the umbrella, whatever. She goes on to do this whole, I'm getting back at all these people. And she forgets her father is in the closet.
But she doesn't forget to randomly dress up in Ghostface, full-on costume, too. For no reason, because it doesn't matter. She's hiding.
Well, you know what's funny, too, is that the whole, reveal scene, and I was thinking about this, showed how goofy the idea of the voice changer making everyone sound exactly the same, because you can sit there and it's like they have that, or like, oh, it's a voice changer, but it's really Roger Jackson. Yeah, Roger Jackson. Like who Ken, there was a Dead in Santa Carla, the friends of the podcast who aren't doing it anymore, but Brian's bringing it back. They got him like on Cameo to do a intro to their show.
No way.
Yeah, that's who did the intro to their show. But like it's that thing where you go, you can hear the voice difference, and it's that goofy thing where you like. I almost wonder like, because he's awesome. Like Roger Jackson's voice is fucking dope. It's like such an icon. Like he is Ghostface, right? But like it's that thing where you go, well, this doesn't have like. It's one of the goofier elements of the film, right? Like there's no voice changer that makes you sound, everyone who uses it sound exactly the same like that. When it's like you can voice modulate someone, but like Ken, I mean, Josh, you've both modified your voice on something like that, and if you go and put your regular voice in that, and then have someone else use it, you're like, oh yeah, every voice is gonna be sounding a little bit different. Zelda, what are you doing?
No, they're all gonna sound the same, Rod.
Are they? Come here, Zelda.
Because everyone has the exact same amount of bass. And
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everyone sounds exactly
this is just what everyone sounds like when
you do it. Everyone just sounds like this.
Sounds exactly
I know it.
like Canadian Josh.
Yes.
Okay. What else do I want to say? I mean, like, what else do you want to say? God damn it, Josh.
What, Rod? What? Rod? What? Rod? What?
God damn it, Josh. I wanted to say what else Ken wanted to say so we could wrap up here pretty soon, because we're recording like a day later and an hour later than usual, so it's past your bedtime. But
$1 late and $1 short.
So Ken, what else do you want to say? Like wrap up like your first experience watching Scream.
I thought it was really good. I mean, I say that every time. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, every time we do a podcast, I'm like, I thought it was really good, unless it's particular movies. But no, I'm actually glad I waited to watch it until now. I think if I would have watched it when I was younger, I may not have appreciated it as much.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but I mean, honestly, I think that it was a lot better watching it now than watching it in like the 90s, because again, I would not have seen it for what it is now.
Yeah.
But you're younger than us, right? So
yeah, I was 6 when it came out.
Yeah, so like you would have been too young anyways to appreciate it when it first came out, and you would have been probably just it would have fucked you up seeing it that young. So
yes.
You would have been like a lifelong, I don't know what you would have been afraid of, but you would have been like what happened to KPP after watching Jaws at a way too early age.
Now she's just,
her whole brand now is scared of sharks. So, okay, Josh apparently wants to deep dive Scream 3, which I don't understand, but like.
No, I'm just saying it's probably, if we talk about Scream 2 and 3, it's going to go more towards 3, because 2 is just too good. I fucking love 2. It's a great movie the whole way through. And Scream 3 is just, it's such a standalone in the whole franchise. Like I feel, and fucking Jay and Silent Bob are in it. Like, come on.
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob already did it. Okay, we'll figure it out for watching both of them, and then I don't know. It depends on everyone. The kids. Like,
I love them both. I don't care what you say, man. Scream 3 is fucking great.
Scream 3 is my least favorite Scream, and it's not even close. But like, I don't know.
And while I was waiting for you guys, I started making a poster for Scream 1. I don't know if you guys saw I made 3 posters for Scream 6.
I saw them on your Instagram.
That's what I fucking do now. I just make a fucking bunch of So I will probably make a Scream poster for every Scream now that we're doing this.
Nice. Okay. Well, Scream 2, maybe Scream 3. We'll figure it out. Ken, I'm glad you enjoyed it, because this is really an iconic movie, and like I at this point I was 13 when this came out, and like slashers were like this iconic idea to me, even though I hadn't seen a bunch of them, like Jason and Freddy and Chucky and all that shit. I don't know if I had seen any of them really, and Scream might have been my first real slasher at that point, that I got to see in its like full VHS kind of glory.
I snuck. Well, I used to sleep like in the basement of the house, like during the summer or whatever, and like Nightmare on Elm Street or something was on TV when I was like really young, and it fucked me up. I was like, the fucking knives are coming out of the bed. Shit.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Cool. Well, okay. We have murdermoose.com. We have Murder Moose Podcast on Twitter. We have continue.com. We have stdmotel.com. We have stdhotel.com. We have quaintaint.com. And we have, God damn it, this is the one I forget all the time. And onlynouns.com are all continuous sites. You go there and visit her and come check out her stream because she's wonderful. Josh WRB. Go find Josh's YouTube, Josh WRB's, and where he does all of his, editing things and he's doing all that cool shit because Josh is awesome. And I am Roger_Johnson on Twitter and Twitch and all those things. And I stream, and I've been playing a lot of Yakuza, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore after it. I'm just reading Japanese like epics for years on end. But yes, we're doing all this. So I love you guys, and I'm glad that we did this. And like, it's a good thing to talk about it because this is the ultimate of this series, and I think Scream is, to be honest, I think it's in my top 3 for sure, and it might be my top 2 or 1 slasher franchises and it's mostly based off of this. Like, there's a lot of cool films I like in this franchise, but this is by far the best. So
it's so good.
Yep. Okay, everybody. We will catch you next week, and we love you. So have a good night, and bye. Bye. Bye.